In Amityville, New York, a house at 112 Ocean Avenue was the scene of a horrific crime that led to the emergence of a series of spooky and supposed supernatural occurrences that became known as the Amityville Horror. These events became legendary after the crime was committed. In the month of November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. brutally murdered his parents, 4 siblings, and their dog inside the house. This act shocked the population in the area and garnered attention from all across the country. After moving into the property a little more than a year later, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, claimed to have experienced terrible and incomprehensible incidents. They said that they were unable to explain what had happened. Strange noises, spectral apparitions, and a feeling of a malicious presence in the house were among the sensations that were experienced. The unsettling experience that the Lutz family went through was later recounted in the best-selling book, The Amityville Horror. This book caused a media frenzy and inspired a number of films, which contributed to the house's long-lasting relationship with supernatural history. Number 5. The tragic crime. The story of the Amityville Horror begins with the dreadful and terrible event that took place in November of 1974. This is the beginning of the story. Ronald DeFeo Jr., who was 23 years old at the time, was responsible for the murder of his whole family, which included his parents, 4 brothers, and their dog. The massacre took place in Amityville, New York. At the address 112 Ocean Avenue, the home could be found. Due to the fact that DeFeo used a powerful weapon to shoot each of them while they were asleep, the murder is highly horrifying. This is especially upsetting because it makes the murder much more terrifying. The way in which the victims were murdered astonished not only the town, but also the nation as a whole. The victims were found laying in their beds when they were discovered with their bodies. After some time had passed, DeFeo admitted that he had been the one who had committed the killings on his own. He explained his admission by stating that he had been motivated by a number of personal and psychological difficulties. In the beginning, DeFeo asserted that he had heard voices in the house instructing him to carry out the murders. Not only did the case become famous due to the brutality of its execution, but it also became famous due to the mystery that surrounds DeFeo's reasons for carrying out the murder. It was not long after the murders that he was put into jail, and he was finally found to be guilty of murder in the 2nd degree. It was the horrible deaths of the DeFeo family that would eventually end up setting the stage for the alleged supernatural occurrences that would take place after the Lutz family moved into the house the following year. Number 4. The Lutz family. In December of 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the house located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville. This occurred just over a year after Ronald DeFeo Jr. committed the horrible murders that were committed for the first time. As a result of the terrible history of the property, it was sold at a reduced price, and the Lutz family, who were uninformed of the full extent of the house's dark past, hoped to begin another chapter in their lives. Soon after they moved home, however, they began to experience a sequence of horrific and unexplainable incidents, which they attributed to otherworldly forces. These experiences occurred shortly after they moved in. There were a number of weird sounds that were heard during the episodes, including doors slamming, footsteps reverberating throughout the house, and voices that disappeared. Not only did they claim the presence of chilly spots that appeared out of nowhere, but they also noticed the presence of unusual scents, including a putrid stench. A number of members of the family, particularly the youngsters, reported having an experience with a person that resembled a devil. The family also claimed to have witnessed unusual apparitions and ghostly figures. George Lutz himself went through a series of peculiar behavioral shifts, one of which was an obsessional concentration on the mansion that seemed to swallow him. Throughout the duration of their stay, the family had the impression that there was a pervasive and malevolent presence in the house, as if something sinister and oppressive was keeping an eye on them. After only 28 days, the family decided to leave because they were unable to bear the increasing anxiety. They claimed that the experiences had become too terrifying for them to continue. They were never seen again, and their story has been used as the inspiration for a number of books, films, and documentaries. One of them is Jay Anson's best-selling book, The Amityville Horror, which contributed to the house's status as a prominent figure in the realm. One of them is Jay Anson's best-selling book, The Amityville Horror, which contributed to the house's status as a prominent figure in the realm of paranormal traditions. In spite of the assertions made by the family, numerous doubters have cast doubt on the validity of their experiences, which has helped to ensure that the narrative of the Lutz family's ordeal remains a topic of ongoing discussion and fascination. Number 3. The book and movies. In 1977, Jay Anson published a book with the title The Amityville Horror, A True Story, in which he chronicled the terrifying experiences that the Lutz family had while they were living in the house that was situated at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. The incidents were described in this book as if they were a first-hand account of paranormal activity. It went on to become a bestseller and was a significant factor to the widespread spreading of the Amityville horror myth. The public's interest in the purported haunting increased as a direct result of the film's success, which led to a number of adaptations of the story in the film industry. The film, The Amityville Horror, which was produced in 1979 and went on to become a big blockbuster, is generally considered to be the most well-known of these. The events that were detailed in the novel came to life in a film that was a faithful adaptation of the novel. As a direct result of the success of the movie, a sizable number of individuals came to the conclusion that the home was engaged in activities that were related with supernatural occurrences. The narrative was recounted in 2005 in a contemporary interpretation, which further established the Amityville Horror's position as a significant figure in popular culture. The tale was retold in 2005. The mystery that surrounds the mansion was kept alive by both the novel and the movie, which continued to contribute to its continuance. Through their horrifying portrayal of the purported haunting, they were able to attract spectators, and they ensured that the story of Amityville will continue to be a focal point of intrigue for individuals who are interested in the supernatural. Number 2. Skepticism and controversy. Even though the Lutz family's narrative of their terrible experiences in the Amityville mansion became highly publicized, many critics have questioned the truth of their claims, saying that they may have exaggerated or invented the incidents for the purpose of gaining financial benefit or attention. In the course of the investigation, paranormal investigators, most notably Ed and Lorraine Warren, were engaged. They asserted that they had witnessed supernatural occurrences within the house. Nevertheless, their findings were treated with skepticism and a range of responses. It was suspected by some critics that the Lutz's story was a fake, with the intention of making money off of the terrible murders of the DeFeo family. Over the course of several years, the Lutz family themselves revealed that various portions of their tales had been inflated, which further fueled concerns about the legitimacy of their experiences. As an additional point of interest, Ronald DeFeo Jr., the individual who was responsible for the murders that initially launched the narrative, later stated that his actions were motivated by narcotics and mental instability. However, he never provided an explanation for the alleged paranormal phenomena that followed the tragedy. The account of the Amityville Horror has been clouded in debate due to the combination of skepticism, the admission of exaggeration, and DeFeo's uncertain objectives. As a result, the question of what actually occurred within the home has not been answered. Number 1. The house today. Not only did the house at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, become legendary as a consequence of the alleged paranormal phenomena that were witnessed by the Lutz family during that time period, but it also became notorious as a result of the horrific murders that were committed by Ronald DeFeo Jr. in the 1970s. The home, on the other hand, went through a series of renovations in the 2000s. During these renovations, The peculiar quarter-circle windows that had gained notoriety as a result of their association with the haunting were removed and replaced with rectangular windows that were more conventional. The current owners of the house have not reported any strange incidents, and the property is no longer tied to the Lutz family or the legends that it is haunted. Despite the fact that this is the case, the house can no longer be considered haunted. Even in spite of this, the Amityville Horror continues to be a chapter that is firmly established in the history of the paranormal in the United States, and it continues to capture the imagination of readers. Although there are those who continue to doubt the validity of the story, there are also those who continue to believe in the supernatural aspects of the story. The story, which is filled with a great deal of mystery, tragedy, and dispute, continues to be one of the most enduring and talked about stories in the history of the supernatural. Throughout the years, it has been a focal point in popular culture, serving as the inspiration for a number of films, documentaries, and novels that perpetuate the fiction of the alleged haunting phenomenon. Over the course of many years, it has managed to keep its influential status. Would you like it? Hit the like button and subscribe to our channels for more interesting and informative videos.